Down the road from Utz is Snyder's of Hanover, which began in 1909 as a regional company and has become the largest pretzel bakery in the country. Founded by Harry V. Wareheim, Hanover Pretzel Company had at the time one product, a soft pretzel. Growth was slow and steady, but things really took off in the 60s with the purchase of a hard pretzel recipe. In the early 70s, Michael Wareheim, Harry's grandson and the company's current chairman, began testing the idea of calling the company's hard pretzel sourdough.
And it was really once they named the product Sourdough Hard Pretzels and Mike adopted a box format for packaging the product that they started to be able to gain distribution really across the United States throughout the 80s, and it became the country's #1 selling pretzels through the mid-90s.
Although Snyder's roots can be traced to the early 20th century, the pretzel's origins go back much further.
We can trace the roots of pretzels back to 610 AD, when monks in a monastery in southern France came up with the idea of utilizing the scraps left over from baking fresh bread. What he was basically trying to do was create the shape of children's arms folded in prayer.
It was known as a pretiola, Latin for little reward, and was given to children once they had said their prayers. It doesn't take much to make a pretzel. You take some dough, twist it, bake it, and presto, you've got a pretzel. But what if you wanted to make tons of pretzels an hour?
Over here, we're in our twister section. This is where we make our sourdough hard pretzels. We're taking a chunk of dough, putting it in the hopper of this unit. In this hopper, there's also an auger that extrudes out a dough ball. It's rolled out between a series of rollers. Once we get a noodle rolled, there's 2 mechanical fingers that actually hand tie the pretzel.
That takes us from maybe 100 pounds an hour that might have been expected in the 30s when this first automation hit the category, to today where we'll produce in many of these ovens over 2,000 pounds an hour.
It'll take between 7 and 15 minutes for these pretzels to reach the oven. During that time, yeast converts fermentable sugars in the dough into the leavening gas, carbon dioxide, causing the dough to rise.
You're doing 2 things in an oven. You're baking in the top zone, and in the bottom zone of the oven is a kiln or dry zone. During the baking process, you're also developing flavor and aroma at that point in time. Once you get to the end of the oven, you drop your product into a kiln zone, which is a drying zone.
The pretzels, which started with between 46 and 48% moisture, have had that baked down to between 16 and 19% in the top of the oven. In the bottom kiln zone, that will drop to between 4 and 5%. Then the pretzels will be cooled, packaged, and palletized, stacked on pallets, to be shipped to markets in Europe, the Middle East, Asia, Pacific Rim countries, and North and South America. Efficiently marketing to the world begins here.
This palletizing unit was installed in August of 2002. It was a capital investment of close to $2.5 million, and we clearly had a good justification to pay that back from a labor efficiency within a couple years. The system is capable of handling about 45 to 60 cases per minute. In a lot of cases, that may translate into about 25 to 28,000 cases per shift.
Snyder's has expanded into organic pretzels and over 30 different varieties of pretzels, flavors, shapes, and forms.
With such pretzel flavors as honey barbecue, cheddar cheese, buttermilk ranch, jalapeno pieces, and hot buffalo wings. Hey, that's a lot of spice for a 1,400-year-old snack. While the rest of the country eats hard pretzels at a rate of 1.5 to 2 pounds per year, Philadelphians consume 12 times that amount.